in the spectacular Chilliwack Valley.
Oh wow, what a nice day.
Bo and Diane Sutton hoped to build their dream home.
Good girl.
Diane grew up in the area, raised her kids here.
Ready?
So they bought this empty lot 5 years ago. But when they started clearing land, a neighbor, who happened to be an archaeologist, informed them these big hills might be graves.
We didn't really realize what that would mean, though, and we
Had no clue.
didn't realize the extent of it either.
In fact, what locals call Mount Maguire is known to the Chilkoyak people as Tamahai, a transformer rock. And this is a place the Chilkoyak have long buried their dead.
You'll stand at the bottom and you can get a little grasp at the size of these.
Wow, it is really big.
Yeah.
When Chief David Jimmy first visited, he felt the entire site should be preserved, like a cemetery.
And yeah, so we have mounds identified throughout this property. It's a sacred place. Development, absolutely not. There should be no shovels in the ground in this site.
It's the kind of conflict that happens over and over again in British Columbia because ancient First Nations burial sites don't get the same legal protection as modern cemeteries.
The province does keep a registry of Indigenous graves and cultural sites, but even if it had been known there were graves here, it wouldn't be listed on land title documents. At the Suttons, a study by the First Nation revealed possible burial mounds all over the property, and turns out the neighbor's land too. After years of bureaucratic wrangling, archaeologists were called in. They confirmed this site as a grave, and this winter, much of the 3 lots were declared an archaeological site.
There's no compensation.
There's no compensation.
Which means the Suttons can't dig anywhere without paying for an archaeological assessment, and they face huge fines if any artifacts are destroyed.
The longer we were in it, the more we realized that it was pretty much the Heritage Conservation Act that was basically allowing the government to cover their own butts.
That's the mound in question. For 1 meter around, we're not supposed to touch anything, like no digging or anything like that.
Realtors have told Ed Tucker and his wife their home, assessed at nearly $600,000, may be impossible to sell.
We should have some kind of compensation and protection. Right now, there's no protection whatsoever for private property owners.
This is the major sized one, and this one spans both properties.
Same story for Mike and Bev Prevost. Their life savings are tied up here.
It is very difficult because we feel like we're caught between a rock and a hard place.
They want the government to buy them out, but have received no offers.
We're not the only people that this is happening to, and we won't be the only people that this will happen to.
A focal point for the tribe was at Chilliwack Lake.
The Chilkoyak chief agrees there are more graves and cultural sites all over their territory and believes they're in danger of desecration if private property owners aren't compensated.
At the end of the day, it comes down to protection of, remains, protection of a cultural site. And unfortunately, the homeowners that are out of pocket or trying to figure out their next steps, there needs to be an adequate process in dealing with and supporting them through it.
And the government says it's working on it.
There have been cases in the past where compensation has occurred. That's been on an ad hoc basis. We want to get away from that and work towards an overall plan.
Here's some of the documents that we have.
But the Suttons feel they have no alternative. They're going to court, suing for compensation.
So the people that are purchasing property, you really need to know that there is a potential bottomless pit of hell that you could be getting into.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they'll keep working with the Chilkoyak tribe, asking for changes to a law that leaves Indigenous graves and landowners vulnerable. Duncan McHugh, CBC News, Chilliwack Valley, BC.